Welcome back. Um, Chicago Thursday night sports talk. I'm your host Giovanni, and I'm here with Jay Rizzo from Rizzo Rent. We got a lot of good news for Chicago sports. It's actually a good week for Chicago sports. We're gonna start off with the Chicago White Sox. They're in the postseason. They're definitely one of the favorites to win it all. We got the Chicago Skies in the finals, the WNBA finals. The Chicago Bears actually made a smart move, and then the Chicago Bulls look like they're ready to win the title. But first things first, let's get with the baseball talks. And Chicago White Sox are playing, the Chicago White Sox playing the Astros their first round series.
Yeah, was an ugly game. Best way to put it. There were a few good things, but definitely more bad things than good. I would not have pitched Lance Lynn in this first game. I thought that was a mistake right away when I heard it. He has not had a good track record at Houston's Park. His ERA is like in the fives. They've crushed him. It's also a team that hits fastballs really well. So, like, it really doesn't matter if he pitched home or away. Just this is a team that's just not a great matchup for Lance Lynn because all of his pitches are fastballs of some sort. If it's a cutter or a sinker or just a four seamer, he doesn't really throw anything else. And he looked okay in the first inning. Second inning, you could kind of see it was definitely starting. They were starting to get on it. He was out of there. He didn't even make it through the third. And I'll say Lopez did pretty good coming out of the pen. I liked what I saw out of Crochet. Ruiz was fine, just to come in to not tax Kimbrel or Bummer or Hendricks. Offense, though, man, we got to learn how to hit Lance McCullers because if it goes to a game 5, we're going to probably have to face Lance McCullers, and he's killed us. I think we still don't have any hits against any of his breaking stuff. The one hit I remember him giving up was on a fastball that he tried to pitch around Yoan. That was like the first hit of the game. So that was really, I like that they started hitting their bullpen. Makes me feel good if they can knock some of their starters out, which Valdez isn't as good as McCullers, and we haven't struggled against as much as McCullers. So tomorrow I think should be a much better matchup. Giolito definitely needs to mix in that changeup as much as possible. As we saw today, this team can hit a fastball, and that's what they try to tag on. So we definitely need to see that. I'd like to see a little bit more aggressive batting too. We can't just stand up there and try to take pitches as much. I thought they were very, very tentative until the bullpen came in. Like with McCullers, they were just hoping he was going to throw balls. And that's not really when you've seen the White Sox at their best. They need to try to hit anything that's in the zone. Don't expect to get walks or anything like that. You got to be aggressive right now, especially being down 1-0. I mean, you're on the road. You're just hoping for a split at best most of the times in the playoffs. But you go down 0-2, pressure's going to be on C's, you know. He's going to be making his first playoff start ever. He's been so good for us, but who knows how much pressure that's going to put on a kid. It's an elimination game. So a little worried about that. I didn't think Tony did anything too egregious other than his lineup. Pretty much since Luis Roberts come back, he's batted him 2. All of a sudden today, he moved him back to 5. He had 2 hits in the 5 spot, and he got hit by a pitch at one point that might have helped the offense out a little bit more if he was batting in the 2 hole. So I don't know. I'm hoping he kind of goes back to that. I'll give Houston credit. They hit pitches that Lance Lynn missed on, that didn't spot right, ran him out of the game. But I do like what I saw, the fight at the end by the White Sox. So I'm not saying it's completely over. This is going to be a tough team. They're good. They're playoff proven. They've been in the playoffs every year for the past like 8 seasons. They've been to 4 straight ALCSs. So, yeah, you can't really make mistakes. You have to play your best game at all times, and that's what the playoffs are all about. I don't know if you saw anything else that you wanted to point out. You can let me know, Gio. But that's what I saw. Don't jump off the bandwagon yet, is what I'm saying. We're not dead. It's one game, guys.
Right, right. No, as soon as I saw who the starting pitcher was, I was like, why? Why would he put Lynn over Giolito? I was confused about that. Um, and then also the White Sox not being aggressive and being more passive or playing like old school small ball, which that worked for Tony back when he played for the Cardinals. I mean, when he managed the Cardinals, but you don't have that same team. And also baseball is not the same anymore. So that was also another red flag when they hired Tony. And if they get bounced out this first round in the playoffs, does he get fired?
I mean, here's the thing: almost everybody is predicting pretty much us to lose to Houston. We were people have Houston maybe even taking out the Rays, but if we would have had home field, I think I would have a little bit more of an issue if he blew it there, road team. But I don't think he gets fired. Now, maybe he resigns or something like that, but I don't think so. It seems like the team really did start accepting him, at least for what he is. Season with him, I think he's going to stick around for one more year. I think next year, you're not going to have Keuchel. Obviously, he's already got left off the playoff roster, which personally, he had been pitching better of late. And I'm kind of surprised they decided and not an extra pitcher. You don't need Mendick. You have Garcia, you have Hernandez, you have Tim Anderson, you have Moncada. You have enough infielders there. So I don't know why they kept Mendick. You ain't going to bring him in as a pinch hitter. You're not going to bring him in as a pinch runner. He's not super fast. So that one was a little weird to me. Like, I could have seen Keuchel being off the roster if it was like a month ago. But he really did pitch better the last 2 weeks that I thought he had like done well enough. But I guess they didn't want to put him in a relief role is what they were saying. They tried it on, I think on the last game of the season, and he didn't look that good coming out of the pen. So they just decided to forget it, and they just went with the pitchers they had, which I still think we have enough pitching, but I don't get the Mendick one. He doesn't add anything. Billy Hamilton, pinch runner, perfect, plays good defense. You can take Eloy out. But Mendick, you're not going to put in for defensive reasons. Definitely not going to hit, and he's definitely not going to run. So it was a little strange. But no, I don't think Tony gets fired. Whatever happened in this series, even if we get swept, I don't think he gets fired. If it's going to be, I don't think he's going to fire him. I think he got us our first AL Central title since 2008. So it's been a long time since that's even happened. And it was one of our best teams ever, just record-wise. I think they're only going to be better next year. The whole core is coming back. So I just don't see it. Could it happen? Of course. But I think, they kind of gave Tony, this is your job. You can have it till you want to go,
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, since the first, what is the best of 5 this series?
It's a 5-game series. So I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not that saying. People are going crazy. Don't get me wrong. 6-1 wasn't a good loss or anything like that. But I mean, it was 6-0 after like the 4th. So, but I think, like I said, I liked what I saw once the relievers started coming in, which makes me feel a little bit better. I don't think Houston's bullpen is as good as ours. I don't think their overall pitching staff is as good as ours. And I do think the bats will come around. But like we both said, they got to be more aggressive. I do like that they've taken more pitches this year. And I'm not saying that, but you got to swing at some of the stuff that's close. They might call it. Don't let the ump be the guy that calls you out.
Right. And that's just in any sport. Don't let the referees or the umps determine the outcome of the game. But moving along, the Chicago Skies are in the WNBA Finals. We talked about it in the beginning of their playoffs, when they clinched the playoff. Since the mayor gave a Candace Parker, they like, well, now she has to win the title. and she's definitely been leading this team. The chemistry with her and the other players is amazing, and it's also surprising because she just got there this year, and she haven't played with any of these other players. So I'm just shocked by that, and it's just been a great season. Great season. Everybody been doing their thing. We don't know who we're playing yet. It's gonna be between the Mercury or the Aces, and each one has their own strengths and weakness. As far as the Mercury, they definitely have a true big three with Deanna Taurasi, um, Skylar Diggins Smith, and Brittany Garner. So that's a powerhouse right there. And then the Aces, they got the best player in the league in Aja Wilson. They also got a big center, um, Liz. And then they also have the sixth woman of the year in Plum. So, and also the Aces probably have the best bench in the WNBA as far as teams that are left.
I mean, you can say all that, but I think we both agreed when these playoffs started, if the Sky are healthy, they have any roster. Their roster can match any other people's roster.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
and with Candace Parker playing as amazing as she is, and you got Vandersloot doing triple doubles out there, and you're getting a bunch of stuff from the other supporting players and Cooper, and who's the shooter that's out there that I keep
Allie.
forgetting? Allie, the one that won the horse tournament when everybody was in COVID. Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
you got all that going for you, man, and it's just like I don't know. It feels like destiny. Like I said, when she came here in the offseason, I was like, man, it'd be awesome if like they went all the way to the finals her first year back. But my big question for you is if they do win it, where does this put Candace Parker on like all time ranks for WNBA players?
Oh, she's definitely in my top five. She's definitely in my top five. She also did something that nobody else has done in the WNBA. Is she won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. You know what I'm saying? And throughout this year, she's just been moving up the chart board for rebounds, assists, scoring. She's, also Diana Taurasi been doing that too. I think she's the number one scorer in the WNBA now. Um, but she's definitely my top five, Candace Parker, especially if she brings one to Chicago. You know, I'm going to be a lot more biased on that. You know
Do
what
you
I'm saying?
think if they win it, does she stay and come back or is she done?
I think, I don't know, because she does it. She has nothing else to prove. She wins it here in Chicago. She already won a championship already in LA, but she wins here in Chicago, which would be amazing, be great for the city. Because we all our major sports would have won the championship, and she brought that, and she's just from up the street over there in Naperville, but she has nothing left to prove. And she does have a great career as being an analyst. She's
Yeah.
very good at it. She calls people out on their BS, and she holds her ground. So that's I love to see her do that as well too.
I hope that she definitely comes back if they win. I always like when you at least come back, try to repeat, or come back to defend your title. At least come back for one more season and just see. But if she does retire, I don't blame her. I agree with you. She's got the analyst thing already locked up. She doesn't really have anything else that she needs to prove as a player. So if she does do it and she goes out on top, I have no ill will towards her either.
Right, and she definitely needs a statue.
Yeah, Lori Lightfoot needs to put one up somewhere for sure. And
Right,
you can make the actual new Candace Parker Day the day that they win the title.
right, right. And then moving along, Chicago Bears, they won their bid to build a stadium in Arlington Heights, which the only thing good about only thing I like about that is I just hope it's just a sweetening deal to for the Bears to get new owners. Everybody knows how I feel about the Bears owners and the front office and altogether structure is all messed up. Is the reason why the Chicago Bears haven't won a championship. They actually did make the smart move. They made the right move. They started Justin Field is now named the starter. But before that happened, Andy Dalton, when healthy, was named the starter, which made no sense. because the defense actually, for some reason, the defense plays a lot better when Justin Field was out there than Andy Dalton. We already know the wide receivers rather prefer Justin Fields than Andy Dalton. Um, but he did have that crazy, horrible game against the Browns. But that was I contribute that more to scheme is like they expected Dalton to play, and then when Dalton didn't play, and then when Dalton wasn't able to play, they just rolled out the same game plan. They had nothing, and that again, that goes on coaching. Like you didn't prepare your guys. You should have prepared both guys for both scenarios instead of what they did. Like who was taking the snaps in practice if Andy Dalton wasn't?
It's true. It's true. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. We missed the one of the worst games ever to talk about. Which, man, if we could have got to talk about that, guys, we would probably have had the whole 30 minutes to explain what was going on or just tell you how bad that team was. But I thought it was a nice little jump back to get back to 2-2. You did beat the Lions, so you didn't beat anybody. But yeah, this goddamn coach, man, just running his mouth, just everything he says, like you just hate it. There's nothing you like when he speaks. There's nothing good anymore when he talks. It
Right.
sounds awful. And then him to say the Andy Dalton thing, then it seemed like management, actually the owners did have to come down and say something because to change your tune that quick, oh, that wasn't Nagy changing that quick. No
Oh
way.
yeah,
His
that was
ego went.
definitely
So one of the McCaskies had to come down and say, "Hey, Matt, no, that's not happening."
right. Right. That was definitely an
That,
executive decision.
yeah, that got
Also,
shut down very fast. So you even did that, and to piss them off takes a lot, or for them to get down and say something takes a lot. So maybe this is like soon coming to an end with this guy. I hope they're starting to realize that like the bullshit that he's spewing is not working with the media. It's not working with the coaches. It's not working with the players. It's not working anywhere.
right.
So I'm hoping that they, like I said, it looked better for sure against the Lions than it did against the Browns. But we're talking about a Super Bowl contender to a team that's 0-4. So I
Right.
liked it, what I saw, but they're still not using like the skill sets, just the skill set that Justin had. It's not even just making plays for him. Like, you're not just using his natural ability, even. Like, it reminded me a lot with Mitch, and you're like, you saw a little bit of it the first season when they went 12-4, and then they totally abandoned it for the next 2 years. So I hope this doesn't mess up Fields, but I do think the right call is to have him starting for the whole season rather than going in and out. I think the in and out stuff can really mess up a QB. Just ask Dwayne Haskins what happened in Washington. They kept talking about pulling him, then they did, then they would put him back in. Like, it just messes up your whole rhythm, messes you up mentally as a player, I feel. And then you
Right.
just start not trusting the coaches because they're not having any trust in you, obviously.
Right.
So I think it's good for Fields to be out there, take his lumps when they're gonna come because they are. We got a tough schedule for the rest of the year. So take your lumps, but get the reps in. You know, show off some of that natural ability. I hope he decides to audible a little bit more when he can. Call Nagy's plays when you can, and that's a whole nother thing. That goddamn play calling thing. This dude being a snake about it can't even admit that he's not play calling, or then when he finally does admit it, he still says, "Oh, but still all goes through me." Like, God, man, just get this dude out of here already. Like, it just like kills me to have this dude as our coach. Goddamn snake oil salesman, man. It's terrible.
Right. 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 Yeah, I have a theory. I have a theory about the whole situation, and my theory is we already know the Bears owners are cheap and they don't like to spend money. They don't lose no money by because they don't pay no free agents. They still haven't paid Allen Robinson, who deserves a big paycheck. Who knows if we could re-sign Raekwon Smith? Um, we pay people that shouldn't be paid, like Nick Foles and Andy
Oh
Dalton.
man,
Because
we
if
got
we had
them.
cap space, we could have got Gilmore, which would have
Or
definitely helped our secondary.
Or we could have got Jalen Smith instead of him going to. He's gonna go to the Packers now, guys.
Right, right. He's not very good in pass coverage, but he definitely can stop the run,
He
which the Bears
definitely
need.
still can. He's still a quick young linebacker that I don't think is declining. Where I think even Gilmore is like the worst pick, but for how bad our secondary is, he would help a lot more. But like Gilmore's kind of on the decline, where Jalen Smith isn't really declining. Cowboys just did that because they didn't want to pay him $9 million next year.
Right.
They just drafted Micah Parsons.
Yep, yep. I know. So my theory is that the Bears or ownership didn't want to pay. They didn't want to fire him because they're gonna have to pay him for the year. And then it's just not Matt Nagy. They probably didn't want to fire Pace or Nagy because they'll have to pay him for the year and a new person for the year. So hopefully my theory is right. The reason why they didn't want to fire them is to pay that money because they're gonna sell the team. That's why they put in this bid all of a sudden to build for the new owners. Because if you're a new owner or owner in general outside the Bears, you would love to have the option. You will. One of the key points of having a team is you have your own stadiums, which you could do what you want to do. You could maximize your potential for sales and marketing. You could sell out concerts. You could host a Super Bowl. All those things. So that's part of my theory. They're going to sell the team, or they're in the process of selling the team. That's why they got the Arlington bid. That's why they didn't fire Matt Nagy or Ryan Pace last year. That's why they're still allowed to have a job after that Browns game because they don't have to spend the extra money um, for these coaches. And it's not just Matt Nagy. That's basically a whole coaching staff. Because honestly, any head coach that comes in is going to want a whole new coaching staff. They're not going to keep nobody from the Chicago Bears. Special team coach sucks. Offensive coordinator, he might be good. He might be great. We'll never know because of Matt Nagy. Our
Mm-hmm.
defensive coordinator was just put there because he was cheap and he's a yes man.
Mm-hmm.
And not even I won't say he's a yes man. He was just put there because he was cheap.
Yeah, you didn't have to pay him anything. He was within the system. He just moved up from another position, so it's not like you had to bring in a new guy. I knew he was just going to keep everything the same. Wasn't going to question Nagy, all that. But I hear you saying sell. So somebody that's going to buy the Bears, as much as we hate them, they still make a bunch of money, so they ain't going to be cheap. Who the hell do you think would be in line to maybe buy them though?
One of the rumors, and this is I just want to see this one. Um, this is one of the no, this is not. This is one of the rumors is Jeff Bezos, and I'd love to see.
Amazon?
Yeah, I'd love to see it Amazon Stadium, because it will one, it'll probably cost more than the Sophie Stadium over there in LA. Two, weather will not delay the game. You know what I'm saying? How you got a $5 billion stadium and you got a delay of game
You mean
due
the
to
one that
weather?
has a roof and everything? I don't
Right,
know.
right, right. But that's who he was rumored, and saying he's a businessman and he always wanted to open up. He always wanted the Chicago market just for Amazon itself. So having an Amazon stadium will definitely get what he wants as far as his other business side. And of course, you're gonna make money with the Chicago Bears.
But
Actually,
now he doesn't have any like Chicago ties or
no,
anything. He didn't grow up in Chicago or was a
no,
fan or
but
anything like that.
it's definitely a good business move because, in all honesty, the NFL is $1 billion industry, and Chicago is the biggest market in the NFL because New York and LA is split because they have multiple teams.
Mm-hmm.
But who I would love to see do it, and this is gonna sound crazy, but who I love to see do it, and they have the money to do it, is Kanye West.
Yeah. Never. He would never. He would never because it's like I get it. He does model himself as I guess somewhat of a businessman and a music guy and all this other stuff. But I've never seen him show an interest like Jay-Z always showed an interest in sports. So I got why he did what he did, becoming an owner and then starting up a agency and all that. But Kanye doing it would be like he would do it, but who's actually going to run it then? Because like
Right.
he doesn't. He would just want to buy, just be like, I have the Bears.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely be like a flex move. It'd be like I own the Chicago Bears, but Kanye being Kanye might be worse than the McCaskies, but it'd definitely be entertaining.
I don't know, man. Like, I love Kanye like you do, but like, I don't know if that's who I want to do it. Like, would it be make so much headlines, so much news? Would it draw people? They just want to see like what kind of shit is he gonna do with the Bears? Of course, but would it help this franchise get
No,
back to where it
no,
needs to be
no,
as a football, like
nope,
in with the elites of football?
nope, not at all. But it, like I said, it'll be entertaining. It'll be great for Twitter, and it'll be great for shows like ours because
See,
we'll
like
always have something to talk about.
what I think would be great is if like he did it, but he like asked Jay-Z to like come in and have be partner with him and pretty much like help him like how do I run a sports franchise kind of
Right,
thing. Would he listen to Jay-Z? I don't know.
right, right. Yep, yep. Boom. Yeah, it'll just be all around crazy. Um, Chicago Cardinals are undefeated in the NFL. You know,
Oh my
they got
god!
the
All right,
number one offense.
let's not get on the Cardinals talk or whatever. Let's move
You
on to
know,
the Bulls.
it was great too. They beat saying like I was over there watching the game, even though it was in L.A. and I was thinking to myself like, man, these Chicago Cardinals are whooping the St. Louis Rams. Like, who doesn't like that when Chicago whoops St. Louis? Like, come on.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, as you've been a jaded Cubs fan all season, guess who had more October wins in
Yeah, the
October?
Cubs.
The Cubs had 2 and the Cardinals had 1.
Right. Yeah, I
And
seen
they
that.
got
And
knocked out yesterday, all right?
by yeah, by the Dodgers, but that was expected. But moving along, the Chicago Bulls will definitely be a fun team to watch. Definitely be a fun team to watch. All my red flags and all my worries are still there, and there was basically on full display um, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Even though we put up like 70 points in a half, which is crazy. But you also got a shooting guard playing power forward, which is also crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, first preseason game. So, like, the main things you wanted to see Lonzo looked good. He looked good with the offense. Caruso looked good. DeRozan looked good. Savage looked good. Like all of your main guys, Levine looked great.
Shoot, even the backups look great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The whole team overall looked good. Now it is Cleveland, who's probably going to be pretty bad this year, but it was nice to see like all these moves they made, and like you got to watch them for a little bit, and it was like, man, this is going to be fun. But I was saying that last year, and they were fun last year in the first half, but I don't know what happened in the second half. Second half of the season, they just like lost it. So, but thought I saw a little bit better defense. It is just a preseason game we're talking, but the big man depth is going to be a worry, and especially with Patrick Williams missing the first couple weeks, you know, that'll be interesting to see what they're going to do as a rotation. I've been hearing maybe they move DeMar to power forward to start. They're just going to go straight up as small as possible, I guess, just to start. And that might help because if he learns how to play it a little bit, at least that's like an extra person you can put in a rotation when games start mattering, because you're hoping
Right.
that this team is going to be in the playoffs. If they look as good as they did yesterday, they could go as high as a 4 or 5 seed, I think, personally. But time will tell. But man, it was very fun to see the Bulls back as a very watchable team, very good team actually. Like you're not just gonna watch them just because you're a Bulls fan. Like they're just a team that's like they're on. You want to watch them.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and they were doing some like dunk contest type stuff with like the 50-foot alley oop pass
Mm-hmm.
from Caruso to Levine, and I'm like, man, that's just straight disrespectful.
Well,
Straight
that's what I'm saying. Like
disrespectful.
they kind of set up a team that you're gonna have to run. This is a team that's gonna have to run people. You're not gonna be able to play like half court basketball. This is gonna be a run and gun team. But if they can get a defense down and actually play a little bit of D, Levine looks like he's ready to step up again. I mean, it's just one game, but man, he looked fantastic. He didn't even play a full game. He had 25.
Right,
So you got your superstar there. Savage looks like he's going to be his normal double stealth. Lonzo Ball looks more comfortable than I've seen him anywhere else. And again, we're all saying this after one preseason game, but man, he looked He looked like what you were hoping when he got drafted as high as he did by the Lakers, you know?
Right.
And it was just like, man, this dude easy and free. We got a point guard. DeMar DeRozan still got some life in those legs, still can score. Caruso, better than I thought he was going to look. I liked that signing, but I thought we should have went for a big, but I liked what I saw. So we'll have to wait and see a little bit more preseason. I'm very excited to see the season start and actually see him play some games that matter. I think more than the players, though, I think the pressure is going to be on Billy Donovan because you got a roster now that is expected to make playoffs. Last year, you did better than they thought to start in the first half, and then you kind of fell on your face in the second half. Now it's like, okay, we got you a bunch of pieces. You have to make at least playoffs. Really, a playoff win almost is what I really want to see from him if he wants to stay. That's the next jump I want to see. I want to see the evolution of where our team's going with what Billy Donovan's going to run.
Right, right. Yeah, and I just like to see that defense come back. Yeah, and see if we could re-sign Levine because it looks like we need a win for him to re-sign with the Bulls. So he's holding all the cards at the moment.
That is true. I hope maybe if they start off so hot that the contract extension will be a little bit easier. Because if he sees that this is going to be like a winning franchise, maybe that helps him. I do think he wants to go to a team that's going to win, but he does want to get paid. I don't blame him for that either. And he deserves it. Like I said, he's gotten better each year with the Bulls. But hopefully we start off so good that these talks come a little bit easier. Maybe he goes down a little bit if he's like, okay, this
I don't
team's on
think,
the right track.
right? I don't even think the money was the issue because he's basically gonna get a max deal. There's no question about that. I think the when being part of, like you said, being part of a winning organization or a winning franchise, because you got to remember he was here for the what's his name,
Boylan.
uh, Boylan. You know, what I'm saying that was just he was just horrible. He didn't know how to coach. I don't know what he. I guess that was another person that didn't qualify for the job and got hired. Ever since Trump won presidency, it just seems like a lot of people doesn't qualify for jobs are getting hired, and he started that trend.
Yeah, those Jim Boylan years, man. I used to always think that I wasn't going to see anything worse than those dark ages, like right after Jordan left. But man, Jim Boylan took it to the next level. Like I've never seen. I can't believe that was a coach at some point of anything.
Right, right. He can't even. Yeah, that guy's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Like he's like the high school coach that like for the high school that they've been old and they never won a game in like 10 years. He's just like he just makes sure people don't get injured and they have water at the game.
Oh man, but
Yep,
yes, I think the Bulls will be exciting. Make sure you watch them, guys.
yep. The Blackhawks they didn't do nothing special. Their season training camp, all that starting up soon. We already talked about all their trades and all the all-season acquisitions. And then the Cubs still suck, guys. Nothing to worry about. They're not going to be good next year. This in December, I'll give you an update
Might
of
be a
which play.
14 or 16 game playoff though.
Yeah, they're still not gonna make it. I'll give you an update which players got traded and where to, like Wilson, um, who else? Hendricks. I'm pretty sure those two players. You could just mark those two players as gone, gone. And then yeah, that's all. That's all I have. Rizzo, you got anything you want to add? Close out with?
I got two things. One, you brought up Blackhawks. Patrick Kane did get invited to be on the U.S. Olympic team. Makes sense to me. I think he's the best U.S. born player. He will end up being the best U.S. born player ever. So I thought he was one of the first guys to get invited. I thought it made sense. Good for him. I think the Hawks are going to have a little bit of a rebound season with Taves coming back. This is another one too that I think the Hawks have made enough moves that they should be in the playoffs, but it's going to come down to Guthrie now. You got to figure out if he's actually the manager. This is his third year now. Now you have all your players back. They got a goalie for you. They added a young defenseman. Now you have to prove that you actually are the guy. Or if you don't make the playoffs, well, then he's got to get fired.
Right.
But I'm happy for Patrick Kane. I hope he gets all the accolades, and I hope the U.S. wins gold. I always hope they beat Canada, but they don't beat Canada. I just hope they beat whoever they play. Um, and then second, uh, you know, bad day for the White Sox, but I am finally going to be going to a playoff game on Sunday. I have never been to one. So I'm excited about that because it's been a long time since they've been in the playoffs. And I'm very excited that me and my wife will be there on Sunday for the blackout game. So we will be there rooting our tails off for the White Sox to either force, well, we're going to have to force a game four, or maybe we're going up to one and putting the pressure on them. That's what I'm really hoping, because I think Giolito is going to be good tomorrow. We just need the offense to come through. But we'll get to see, I think it's going to be Dylan Cease on Sunday. And personally, like I said, he's been our best pitcher in the second half. So I'm very excited for that. And go Sox, man.
Right. Right. I actually one is Houston and Cubs fan. If it's between Houston and White Sox, you're hoping for the White Sox to win because let's not forget the Killer Bees and the Astros were in our division and they were a rival for the Cubs for many years.
I mean, I would already think that nobody should be rooting for Houston just with all the bullshit that they did. I don't think
Man,
anybody ever roots for them. Even people in Houston, I think, have to have a.
oh, they love them in
Eh,
Houston,
well,
but it's Houston.
whatever. It is Houston.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep. I actually do want to see the White Sox make it to the World Series, and you have the opportunity just to catch a game in the World Series.
I will
Uh,
have at least one game if they make the World Series.
yeah, and that'll be that's just a great experience. I actually went to two World Series games when the Cubs won. You know, they could take another 108 years or 216 years. It doesn't matter. I was one of the few people to witness the Chicago Cubs win the World Series, which is like a feat in itself. You know what I'm saying? So I do hope the White Sox go all the way, and saying you're able to witness those moments because those are as people for the people that don't know, we're very big sports fans, and just to experience that will be crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, it would be amazing. But I mean, like the big thing with the White Sox, and I hope all of our fans realize this. This is just the beginning, guys. Like last year was nice. This year was even better. But we're gonna have everybody coming up. If we didn't have all those injuries to start the year, if we had Eloy and we had Robert to start, I think we might even been higher than 3 seed for sure. I think we might have challenged the Rays for that 1 seed. So we're gonna get rid of Keuchel, and Kopech's gonna become a starter next year. If Tony comes back, that's great. If he doesn't, we're like one of the most coveted jobs right now. We're bringing in the number one prospect again, probably next season. Colas sounds like he's almost a done deal here. So the White Sox ain't going nowhere for years. So if we do get knocked out by like it's over, like, the division is ours for a while. Detroit's the next team that's coming up. They're still years away. And then I'd say even Kansas City is above where Cleveland and Minnesota are going right now. So it's our division, I think, for the next 5 to 7 years. And we're going to be in the playoffs all those seasons, I think. So if we don't win it this year, we are going to win at least one or two in the next 5 to 7, is my prediction.
Right. Okay. Well, on that, we're out.